Well, they say third time's the charm, Alan, and I think we're going to give this one another bash.
We'll give it a go.
I'm standing here with Alan from Lindsay Africa. Alan, welcome. How's the show been for you guys?
Yeah, as I say, it's been a good event. It's always good to be here. It's necessary to be here because you need to be able to get out and get in amongst your customers and potential customers and just find out what the mood is. And like we said, it's been a little bit quieter than it has been in previous years, but that is probably reflective of where we are at the moment.
Yes.
And you need to know that. You need to come at it just from a marketing perspective and everything. You need to know where your customer is thinking. So
you need to understand where you stand in the scheme of things.
That's right. It's always good to be here, and you have to do it, and it's good.
Fantastic. Now tell us a little more about who Lindsay Africa is and what they do.
Okay, Lindsay Africa is the wholly owned subsidiary of Lyndsey Corporation, which is an Omaha-based company.
Yeah.
And we have a manufacturing facility in Cape Town, which is one of several around the world. We've got one in Brazil, Turkey, one in China, and one in France. And then obviously our main factory was in the middle of the US in Nebraska.
Okay.
And our main product, what we're famous for, is the Zematic brand of center pivots, which are center pivot agricultural irrigation systems. And as I say, we produce at our factory in South Africa. We produce all of the steelwork, and then just import the electronics and the control panels and all that sort of thing that you're going to see just now. That all comes from the US
and locally assembled.
And then we put it. It all comes in modular form, gets put on a truck, taken to the farm, and erected and built onto the farm.
Okay, beautiful. Now tell us a little bit more about what you got on display here this year.
Okay, aside from obviously putting our structures up that people always like to come and see, one of the things that we're demonstrating here right now is a system called VRI, which is part of our sort of technology branding, which we call GrowSmart, and part of FieldNet, which is our online remote platform. And that's what we're trying to do. We make a very, very good center pivot. The structure is good.
Yes.
It's good material. It's got excellent warranties, up to 20 years in some parts.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, you've still got other manufacturers making pivots, and what we're trying to do is have something that's a little bit differentiating.
Yes.
And in that case, VRI is one of those, which is variable rate irrigation.
Let's swing it around.
That's what we're demonstrating here.
Okay. Let's swing it around here just to show some of the controller. So talk us through why variable rate irrigation.
Okay, with a normal pivot, and what still is probably 99.9% of the pivots out there around the world, your sprinklers are connected to the main pipeline via a flexible hose or a solid drop. And what you do when you're building the pivot, you design the sprinkler program to put down the exact amount of water that's required for that crop or that farm or that region. So that's so you're designing it for 10 millimeters a day, and the only way you can vary that is by making it go faster or making it go slower, in which case you put more or less water down.
Yes.
Now, what this does at the end of the day, because it's still then going to be continuous along the whole machine, what this does is take control of each individual outlet, each individual sprinkler. So what that means is that you can switch sprinklers off or pulse them as the pivot moves along. So it's got two real purposes. One is if you have areas that what we call avoidance areas. So areas like a road going through the middle. You could have a stream or something going through the middle of the pivot. So you don't want to irrigate that, because obviously if it's a road, A, it's a waste of water, but B, you could end up messing up your road. Streams, obviously there's no point in putting water into a river.
Into a river, no.
Right. It's going to cost you money because you still have to pump. So what this does is, by controlling each individual sprinkler, what you're going to do is basically, as the pivot starts to cross the avoidance area, sprinklers will start to switch off, and it can be any shape, and then because it's all GPS guided, so everything is you plot in the areas you want to avoid, and as that pivot passes over that area that you've plotted in, so the switches will sprink off, and then once you start coming out the other side, they start switching back on.
Start reactivating as you hit to the areas that you need to wet.
That's correct. The other purpose is, what you'll do is you'll get a survey of your soil from your field.
Okay.
Right, and then what you'll find in many cases, not all but many, is that you might have various different types of soils, some sandier soils, heavier clay soils, and so on. Now they ideally require different forms of different application rates. But if you only have sort of one set irrigation application, then you're going to have to take it for the worst case, right?
Absolutely, yes.
So you're going to be overwatering in other areas. So what this does, by taking your soil map, you again put it in. It's all GPS, so you map out and you can program. Right, in this area, I want to apply more, and it might be at the end of the pivot. So whereas you wouldn't be able to do that normally, with this you can actually vary the application along the length of the pivot.
Ensuring that the various soil types get exactly what
they're needed.
Nothing excess, minimal wastage,
That's correct.
And maximum efficiency.
That's correct. Now, at the end of the day, efficiency is the big thing because
Absolutely.
if you're pumping less water, then that is saving you energy. It's saving you water if you have to pay for the water as well.
Yes.
But the flip side of that is if you're giving absolute ideal irrigation to your crop, you should. If you do everything else correctly, you should actually increase your yield.
Yep, maximum yield.
That's absolutely correct, yeah.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about the automation systems. You've got a beautiful setup going over here that just shows, some of the control systems, and we've been through it. We're going to try and get through it entirely this time.
This is out, and we stop.
Yeah.
Okay, this is just the basic panel, which we still have quite a demand for.
Okay.
There's still people that just reluctant to get dragged into 21st century.
Modern technology.
And this is exactly for them. It's on-off buttons, percent timers. You set it to do a certain percentage,
Yes.
and that's your speed timer, and it will go around. And you can set it to switch off, but then certainly you'd have to come back and put it back on again. And there's a lot more. People like it simple sometimes, and that's
but there's a
basically
lot
what it
more
is.
human interaction, and it's a little more time consuming in terms
Absolutely,
of its control.
you would need to go if you've got 20 pivots and they've all got these. You're going to have to drive to each and every pivot, switch it on, off it goes, go to the next one, switch that on. You can still link it to pumps and stuff, so it's not it's not completely backward, but
Yes.
it's a basic. It's a well-built panel. If you looked inside, there's a lot of contactors,
Yes.
and it's well, there's still a market for it, but certainly over the years it's become less and less and less.
Where's it been going?
It's been going to panels like the one we're going to see now. This is what we call a vision panel, and this is one of our two programmable computerized panels.
Okay.
So this is the sort of intermediate one. It's actually very, very simple to program, and you just put in there, if you actually see there, it's got a degree setting.
Yes.
So that's currently would be simulating that the pivot is at 245 degrees. So you know where it is in the field, and let's say when it gets to 270 degrees, you want to change your application. You would program in at 270, either speed up, slow down, change the rate of application. So again, it's it's still a panel bolted to the center of the pivot, so you still have to go to it to switch it on and off. And it is the remote system, which is what we've been sort of really seen take off over the last few years, which is our FieldNet platform.
Tell us a little more about FieldNet there.
Well, FieldNet is a web-based system. If you actually have a look over there, you'll see a picture of an iPhone, which that's what you would get on your phone. So it takes a Google map or Bing map or whatever it is. You identify all your pivots, and basically you can touch on one of those, up will come what it's doing, whether it's running wet or whether it's running dry, whether it's started. You can download all of the history, so you can say, well, it's irrigated so much, it's applied so much water, it's used so much electricity, and it's whether you've got one pivot and you just want a little peace of mind that if you're not on the farm, you can always check it to see what's happening, or whether you're a big corporate with 500 pivots, it has a use, because there you would have a head office, and maybe the guy in charge of agriculture has got to put a report in. He can go on and just download on farm XYZ, I use this much water and so on. So that's where we've gone with that. And
it certainly is bringing it to the modern era and the modern age in terms of digital apps and convenience.
Absolutely, no, very much so. Like I said, it's taken a little bit of time. We've had sort of self-guided driving tractors and GPS-guided tractors now for a number of years.
And the guys have been trusting those.
Everybody's been going into it, yet we were still setting basic panels. And it's only really, I would say, in the last few years that we started to see the younger, more progressive farmer come along and pick up and say, this is actually pretty good. And when he's sitting there and he's not on the farm and he's in town or he's on holiday, he's just got that peace of mind. And it's almost like Big Brother as well. You've got a farm manager, you can look, there's a problem. Because it will tell you as well. If there's a problem, it will give you
it's going to alert you, yes.
And, you give it a bit of time, he hasn't checked it out, you can phone him up, say, listen, what's going on? Why is it? So and downtime is money. That's as simple as that.
That's the core.
That's right.
It's the core mantra of it is you can't afford to be idle, you can't afford to be down.
That's it.
If you can maximise efficiency, it's the name of the game. You're maximising profit.
Very much so. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Well, Alan, I want to thank you very much, because it's been an absolutely fantastic chat.
All afternoon.
All afternoon for the third time round. But it has been an absolute pleasure. I've really learned a lot, and I really do like it. I mean, Autotrader is a very tech-based and tech-savvy company, and we really appreciate the approaches of those companies that are driving technology forward. we understand the future and we understand the benefits of it. And it's great to see that it is infiltrating industries that have for the longest while been rooted in tradition.
No, very much
so. Fantastic. We wish you all the best and I hope you guys have a fantastic day tomorrow. We're going to sign off. This is we're hoping it's our last video for the day. But you guys must have an absolutely fantastic time and we'll catch you back here tomorrow for our fourth and final day of Nampo Oesdag 2018. Bye-bye.
Thanks, bye-bye.